What is going on, ladies and gentlemen, and boys and girls from around the world, and welcome to Minor League Esports presented by APM Music. Once again, I am your happy-go-lucky hooligan host, Captain at Soka. And as always, I'm not joined in the booth alone. I'm joined by the one, the only Maple. Maple, how are you doing this evening? Alrighty, well, while we are experiencing technical difficulties, let's go ahead and give us the good old-fashioned rundown here at Minor League Esports until Maple is back and ready and not moving as slow as molasses. We're going to give you a rundown of what we got going on tonight, which, of course, is the Outlaws versus the Rhinos. So let's take a look at how they're stacking up side by side. The Rhinos right now in the regular season have a 32-23 record. Pretty good. They're standing at number 2 in their respective division. And of course, we're going to go to the other side for the Outlaws and see how they're doing as well. They're going 34-21, and they are number 1 in their respective divisions. Now, this is actually a really big game from what I'm told, because there's a lot on the line going on right now. Apparently, the Rhinos are currently top of the wild cards and in a close division race, with the Outlaws being only 2 games behind. So a win could not only see them take the lead of the division, but also get them very close to securing playoffs. So now that we're moving further along into the season, these games are really going to have more and more weight behind them, to say who wins and who loses. Of course, playing all 5 games definitely will play a huge factor. So even though, you might go down a little bit in the series, you don't give up with playing all 5 games, because every win can literally make a difference as we're moving forward on into the season, of course, moving towards playoffs. And then the Rhinos cannot be eliminated from a secure playoffs this week, but will take the division lead with a 4-1 win or better. So they're going to want to try and do a little bit decent here. If they can get the 4-1, I doubt they're going to get the 5-0, but, tis hoping. It could really be beneficial for them. Of course, and the Outlaws just got a 5-0 win over the Rhinos in 2s last night. The Rhinos will be looking to get a little bit of revenge. And let's be honest, though, that's going to be like a huge momentum boost for the Outlaws, because, going in, like, they were able to get the 5-0 win, which, like I said, I don't think the Rhinos are going to do that to the Outlaws. But, coming off of a huge win like that is going to make you feel pretty good coming into this game. And then Smitty has been the stat leader for the Rhinos and will be looking to elevate their team as much as possible. Smitty Cena, we're going to be looking for you. But as most people know, you can't see them on offense. That's why they're such a dangerous striker, Smitty Cena. And then, for the Outlaws are in a prime spot tonight to not only secure themselves a playoff spot, but also push the Rhinos out of position, out of possibly winning the division and taking it for themselves. Outlaws cannot secure the division this week, but will secure playoffs with a 5-0 win, and with the Flame Series win versus the Shadow, and the Bears 5-0 Pirates, and Elite 5-0 to 4-1 against the Bulls, and anything but Tyrants 5-0 Dodgers. All of those need to happen for Outlaws to secure this week, but they're in a very good spot. Just need a lot to secure. This week, the Evil is back, participated in the 5-0 of the Rhinos in 2s last night, and we'll be looking to ride that momentum in. Like I was just saying that, they got a lot of momentum riding into this match, so hopefully they can continue up from what they left off last night. The Evil is back, has top 10 spots in goal per game, tied for 3rd, and shots per game, tied for 4th. So there's a lot of talent on the field. I have to check with my main guy, Maple, to see if they're done being as slow as molasses. Maple, how are you doing? You back, buddy?
Man, I am back and I'm ready to go. Unfortunately, in rearranging some of my gear, I hit the mute button on my mic. So my apologies, and thanks for covering things at Soka. You are amazing as always. And speaking of amazing, I think we're going to be we're going to have a really good game before us. You've talked a lot about these 2 teams and the fact that they're so close, right? The Outlaws have a 2-game lead for first in the division over the Rhinos. Some really good players on both teams. And in fact, as you mentioned, the Outlaws did 5-0 in 2s. And Evil is back, is going to be playing in that game as well. So, you know what? I think we're going to be lucky, and we're going to see some really good Rocket League here over the next 5 matches.
Yeah, absolutely. And like we were talking about, we were breaking down like really what this means for both of these teams. Now, don't get me wrong, I don't think it's going to be as one-sided as that. Granted that the Outlaws were able to pick up the 5-0. I don't see any teams getting a 5-0 here tonight just because of the talent that we've already seen displayed. We know what players are going to be on the field tonight, and we know what this, will mean for both teams. So honestly, I really wouldn't be surprised if we see it end at like a 3-2. I see both of these teams taking off some losses from the other. I think it's going to be pretty close.
I think you're absolutely right. And as we get going here, finally in this game, we've got our lobby and our players underway. We're going to be hosting some really good quality players at Champion League. And that's so good. Take it away, my friend.
I can't, unfortunately, because I cannot get into the lobby for some reason. Having some technical difficulties myself. So why don't you go ahead and take it away as I get myself sorted out.
All right, no worries. Smitty Cena up for the shot, and unfortunately a miss. Evil is back, passes it out to the front, but Stealth LSU with a really good clear where the ball stays into the Rhinos. The Rhinos, good offensive push here every damn day. Pushes the ball up. Rua actually pushes it back. Just a little bit of a risky play there as the ball got really, really close to their net. Outlaws trying to clear this ball out and are having some difficulty with that. But here we go every damn day. And Smitty Cena with a good save. Evil is back, pushes that ball backwards towards the net. And so far, Captain, what we're really seeing here is a bit of back and forth, which is normal for the first game in any series.
Yeah, absolutely. Honestly, I get tired of talking about it because I talk about it so much. But hang on, because we got a boomer. Not really a boomer, but I got to say, a nice little touch off the backboard, barely missing the crossbar here to drop this one right back down. And that looked to me like a three-way pass play. And the Evil is back is just going to find the sidebar in that one to put that right into the back of the net, and we have a 1-goal lead early.
We definitely do. Kreb winning that face-off, or that kickoff, sorry, but Stealth goes up. Pushes the ball back. Smitty Cena there to receive it. Nice slow play, not wanting to throw that ball away, but a good defensive play here by the Rhinos. Sees that ball, by the Outlaws, sees that ball end up to the Rhinos. And that ball just ends up getting pushed to the side again. So a little bit of ping pong as the ball is back and forth. Not a lot of control established so far. And, with the quality of players that we've got, with the skill level that we've got, some of these players are going to be high champ into GC. Captain, what do you expect to see in terms of play and rotational style here?
I would not like to see what I just saw, which was that, two teammates literally bumping each other. You got to give each other some room. Like, honestly, when you're talking about, like, champ level, GC level players, you really need to think, like, coordination, team synergy, being able to communicate. And the last thing on your mind is, oh, let me go bump my teammate real quick. But unfortunately, it happens. So really what I'm expecting to see is, when people think, like, high-level players, they're automatically thinking, oh, musty flicks, flippery sets, double touches, ceiling flicks, etc., etc. But that's really not what it comes down to. It comes down to just good old-fashioned fundamentals. And that's exactly what we just saw, of course, from Rua and Smitty Cena, and of course, Krev, the three-way pass play, or as I like to call them, game breakers. And like I was saying, that's really what it comes down to. That's what separates the weak from the chap. It's not the cool highlight stylistic plays that we're used to seeing on like the, GIF Your Games top 5 of the week. It's really the bare bone fundamentals.
Well, it really is, and you're absolutely right. When we talk about mechanics, right, there's advanced mechanics. There's the flashy stuff. There's the, as you said, ceiling or flip resets, ceiling shots, things like that, double touches. But really base mechanics are going to dictate almost always how a player's going to do. It doesn't matter if you can do a flip reset, because if your accuracy is so poor that you never get that thing on net, then really what's the point of wasting your time with it, right?
Absolutely, Maple. Like, you literally nailed, you hit the nail on the head on that. Just because I see so much stuff of where I'll see like a great buildup of a play. It's broken down perfectly, like we're seeing right now. Krev kind of moving in towards their half, and they're feeding the ball to each other. They're passing it around, and it's really good, communication for the most part. And especially if you see someone that's going solo and is doing some really good 1v1 mechanics, but then it comes time to put the ball on target, and then it just doesn't go in. I've seen it happen so many times, and I think that's going to be the big difference maker of who is going to be able to execute, who's going to be able to to finish, who's going to be able to find the gap in the armor and put the ball into the back of the net.
Absolutely. And with about 1 minute left here, we're still seeing a lot of broken plays, not a lot of connected passing plays, and the ones that we have seen have ended up in the net. And as I say that, Stealth here puts a shot just to the right of the net, and this is an opportunity here for the Outlaws to keep this offensive rotation going, and that's something that they seem to be doing well with every damn day, trying to hit it in front of the net. Really good pass, but the number 2 man not quite there. So Smitty Sina is going to lead this ball out for the Rhinos and try and get an offensive rotation of their own going.
Yeah, right now, if I'm the I'm sorry, but right now, what I'm seeing from the Outlaws, if I was them, what I'm looking at, I feel like the Rhinos are spending way too much time in their own net. They're way too comfortable, and finally, they're able to get to the back of the net. Less than 30, like we're at 28 seconds. We barely have any time left for the Rhinos to counterattack. This was the opportune time to score, and unfortunately, Krev just kind of slugging off that back wall, lost a little bit of control, and could not recover.
Yep. Here on the diagonals, the Evil is back, and Krev go at it. Ball ends up with Smitty Sina. The Rhinos, as they start their attack here, they want to tie this up. But just as I say that, Rule with a great shot in the number 2 position in the slot, tying that game up with only 20 seconds. And that's okay. You were talking about there not being a lot of time left in this game, but here we are watching a great goal happen because people were in the right place in the rotation.
Yeah, because when you have like the first thought in your head, Maple, of like, oh, there's only 20 seconds left, there's only 30 seconds left, you're thinking, well, that's not a lot of time, but you got to remember, this is Rocket League. 30 seconds in Rocket League is nearly an hour in regular people time, people that don't play Rocket League. So a lot can happen, and a lot has happened, as even when the clock hits 0, plays can still unfold. As such, the ball will go high with 0 seconds left on the clock, brought back down to the midfield, and it will be kept alive momentarily as we now finally get into overtime.
Smitty Sina every damn day on the diagonals. Smitty Sina wins that one with a quick touch by the Rhinos, and a shot on net is steered aside here by the Outlaws, who really have been pushing a little bit harder than the Rhinos, I think. So really curious to see if they're going to be able to continue this. But a great demo by Rua opens up some play, but the Outlaws are able to clear that ball out and reset themselves a little bit. Smitty Sina on the right hand. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I apologize. I was going to say, that's what I've been waiting for, is those demo plays. Like, I felt like the Rhinos were spending so much time in their own net, and, I haven't really seen any physical play, but I'm glad I'm starting to see it.
Yep. You know what? And I think that's going to be the key here to victory, is we see this ball getting hit back and forth, disrupting these rotations, which, on the defensive side have been really good, Captain. And so it's disappointing to me as a Rocket League fan and player that we haven't necessarily seen the same on the offensive side. So I'd really like to see some more demos, because that's how these teams are going to get their offensive rotations going and start to feel a little bit more confident in their plays.
Yeah, and that's when you really start to bring the hype and bring the noise. Let's see if they can make it happen, as this will be a nice touchdown towards the midfield. Almost capitalized, but just a little bit off to the side. Could have been devastating for the Outlaws as they try and hold the line of their defense, as Stealth LSU is able to get the save to clear it away. And now Rua hitting this one down to Smitty Sino. Will put it on target, but once again, the Evil is back, and the Outlaws are able to save it, as they're being literally strangleholded inside their own half, and the Rhinos are literally just having batting practice and a shooting frenzy on the Outlaws net.
Well, they sure are, and so far the Rhinos have 12 shots on net to the 9 that the Outlaws have, and it doesn't seem like a lot when you talk about a 3-goal differential, but it really does get to be a lot, because you have to be there to make those saves, and the Outlaws already have 8 saves. And you know what? The Rhinos are no slouches here with 6 either, so as this play continues to go back and forth, well, I think it's going to come down to a bit of a war of attrition. And just as I say that, a great touch here by Krev, and he's able to punch that ball in off of a good keep in on the side wall, and a nice touch, and it just ends up getting bumped in by Stealth. And here we go. The Rhinos take the first game in this 5-game series.
Tisk, tisk, tisk. Oh no, oh no. Did you see what I see? I saw a little bit of an accidental goofy goober self-touch into their own net. But you got to keep in mind, like, the stranglehold from the Rhinos was so insane. Like, they were just constantly having that rotation at the midfield, just peppering the net over and over and over again. Again, look at the shot count. It's definitely favored into the Rhinos, but for that overtime, like, the majority of the possession was definitely in favor of the Rhinos, and they can only recover so many saves before, you know, one of those touches just ended up going the wrong direction. So unless you get out of your own net, eventually they're gonna find the back of the net, and that's exactly what happened. But this is exactly what we expect from game number one. You know, it's not a telltale sign of how the overall series is gonna go, but I will say it's a big momentum shift for the Rhinos. You know, considering that they came off from a 5-0 loss in twos last night, it's gotta feel good to get a win on the Outlaws in game number one.
Yeah, you nailed it. I think it's that part that's important for people to understand. You know, your team has gone down, they've gotten 5-0, and that hurts the morale, that hurts the heart, that hurts the soul. And so enable to come, you know, to enable yourselves to come back from that, to kind of dig yourself out of that feeling, you've got to win. And the Rhinos have done that, and they won in a convincing fashion, in that they had more shots on the Outlaws. And so at the end of the day, they're doing what they need to do. And now the Rhinos, I know we're only in game 1 of 5, or heading into game 2 of 5, but the Rhinos find themselves only one game back now of the division lead.
Yep, and the kickoff already underway here as Rua will come up off the cheat, getting able to get a touch here over to Stealth LSU, but the dunk from Krev will keep it in the Outlaw corner, and now every damn day getting dunked by Krev. Krev really doing some work there as this will go back towards the midfield for Rua, and not being able to go up for that double touch. Not sure if they were leaving it for the teammate or if it was just a flips bad moment, but the ball will remain in Outlaw's side as now they have an opportunity for a counterattack as the Evil is back. We'll try and take this pass, and one opponent will leave it up for every damn day, but the 50-50 pinch will send this ball the other way as Stealth LSU gets back to get the save to clear it away. And what a play! Unbelievable. Okay, I gotta leave this one up to the chat. Maple, please bring some sense of this. Calculated or not? What just happened?
Well, I'm not quite sure if that was calculated, but if it was, that was an outstanding play. Krev was in the right place at the right time. It looked to me like it was a double commit on the attack. Krev got in there, ended up pinching that ball into the net, and that would have been an impossible shot to save, even if you were there and ready to go, which unfortunately in this case, the Outlaws weren't, right? So the Rhinos again taking a 1-0 lead in this game, and already they're there, but the Evil is back with a nice touch up into the top right-hand corner of the net. And here we are tied again, Captain Atsoka, and the Evil is back up to no good.
Now, you see, this is what you got to watch out for. You got to watch out for these fast break plays. Players that can, like, literally turn an opportunity from having their backs up against the wall, you know, having to wait out on defense, and then turn that into a fast break play all the way on the other side of the pitch is absolutely dangerous. Like, you have got to be careful, because you can think you have the upper hand, and then it just goes completely the other way. But Rua this time had the upper hand with the touch from Smitty Cena going off the backboard, just finding everybody out of position on that play, and it was well done. And this is why the shot count actually makes a difference, because if you're putting shots on target, you're forcing the defense to try and make, you know, these type of plays, and not every time will the shot be on target, but you're still forcing the defense to move out of their position. And then when you can find a teammate open, you can find the net open as the defensive players kind of take themselves out of their own position.
Well, and you nailed it, because I was actually going to mention this, but before I do, every damn day with a tough angle shot here from the left-hand side, and just a beautiful placement to put it just in behind Rua, who should have been at back post, but wasn't, and therefore not quite in the right place to make that save.
Yeah, also, I like the little bump, a little cheeky bump on Smitty Cena there. And now Rua also going up, trying to find the corner, and will do just that. You cannot get much closer than this.
No, you can't. Rua, with a really good cheat right off the kick up, puts that to the top left-hand corner. Bardowski, and here we go with the lead is regained by the Rhinos. And we still got 3:30 left to play in this game at Soka. This is a very exciting game for everybody out there who's watching.
Man, you think you're excited? You should see my palms. They're in fact sweaty at this moment, and I say it all the time, but my hand's not even on the controller. So just the fact that this, and I was really about to make this point. We're not even at halftime, and 5 goals have been scored, Maple, and we're talking about in game number 1. Well, game number 1's not really a tall tale sign. You know what really is? Seeing the back and forth between two teams. That's a tall tale sign to me. Being able to get so many goals on the board in such a short amount of time.
I totally agree with you. You know what? Seeing all of these goals in either means they've turned on offensively, which is really good because that's what, for everybody who's watching at home, the offensive stuff is a lot more exciting generally than the defensive stuff. But as I say this, Stealth puts a relatively easy and kind of slow shot on net, nothing looking particularly dangerous, but a really great play here by him. Reality is there wasn't a lot of players around on the defensive end, tying that game up with about half of the game left to go, 2:47 left on the clock.
Yeah, and Maple, I honestly can say that I know 100% what you were going for. I know what you were talking about because normally when we see tie games, it's typically at 0-0, 1-1 or keeping around that score line. But it's a lot more interesting and it's a lot more exciting to see a tie game happening at 3-3 or 4-4, 5-5. When you constantly see the back and forth, goal after goal, like who's going to maintain it, who's going to keep up the consistency. That's the exciting part. And where most of the time when it comes to Rocket League, we're used to seeing ties happen at around like 0-0 or 1-1. And they just kind of hold that defensive stance to where they're not going to let any goals go by, kind of like this now as we're holding at 3 as Rua manages to get one epic save. And now going off the backboard, here comes Smitty Cena, but the little finessing touch from the Evil is back. We'll take the lead right at the 2-minute warning.
Well, the Evil is back is going to definitely be hunting for a hat trick here as he's able to pull his team ahead. And the Outlaws take a lead in game number 2. And that was a fantastic shot by the Evil is back, who has had the number of the Rhinos so far this evening in being able to put that ball into their net.
Yeah, I was actually going to make the point, too, that it's funny because, like, me being a baseball fan, it's not every day I get to see a change-up happen in Rocket League. And now the Evil is back, taking this off the side. Gets past the defender at the midfield as Rua is on the retreat. Will get a full tank of boost, but the Evil is back. Will go off the backboard. But Smitty Cena is there and waiting on defense. Now the counterattack underway for the Rhinos. A beautiful midfield pass, but the Evil is back. Will be back in time to play some defense. They get the save to clear it away.
The Evil is back is playing a complete and full game, and this is something that I want to point out. Evil is a good player, and this is something that we've seen in the past when he's been on stream, but I'm not used to seeing him play all of the right positions, and in that case, a little bit of a defensive mistake as his third player, the person back in net, actually left net before he was back, and he was able to hurry up, get up there, and help make that save and clear that ball out, prevent another opportunity. The Evil is back is just absolutely playing well tonight. And I mean, that can be said for a lot of the players on the field, but he's one that I've definitely taken note of.
And that's really important too, not only to just be able to be an offensive monster, but also really get the job done on defense. Like the most dangerous players are the ones that are good on both sides of the ball. As now Smitty Cena will try and look for a midfield pass, but it's broken up by every damn day, every damn time. It will be going down to Krev, going off the crossbar again. But once again, like we're saying, the Evil is back, really holding on to the goalie role, and will be playing some of that defense as every damn day, looking to play some offense. But Krev got a little bit of defense in on their own. They were able to get the save, now going up high off the ceiling over to Rua, and it's Stealth LSU to get the clutch save right at the last moment.
Speaking of the Evil is back, he puts that ball just barely off of the crossbar to make another save with only 3 seconds left. It looks like the Outlaws here are going to be able to take this game number 2 to the Outlaws. We have a 1-1 tie, so we're back and seeing that right now the Outlaws are back in first by a 2-game lead for the division lead. And man, that was a bit of a different game than we saw the first one, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's typically how it goes. Even for us casters going into game number 1, you had some technical difficulties. I had some technical difficulties. But once we got our stuff flowing, we started synergizing a little bit. It got a little bit better. And that's exactly what happened with the cast, with the players on the field. Game number 1, it was kind of shaky. It wasn't really as high scoring, fast paced. It was a lot more careful. And it ended up going all the way into overtime. But this time around, we saw a lot more, type of like high IQ plays come out. Like a lot of of pass plays I saw that ended up being really good. And speaking of, shout out to Smitty Cena for pulling down the Playmaker medal. 3 assists to their name. But of course, when you go to the Outlaw side, they all have an assist apiece. Again, 3 assists for both sides. So we're seeing a lot more pass plays being involved. We're seeing a lot more teamwork. And that's really going to show how much of a difference game number 1 was from game number 2, because now these teams are starting to warm up. They're starting to feel each other a little bit. And even, they might be talking it up a little bit more. So it's really good to see all this kind of unfold as we progress. But the series overall, I think, is very telling. And, it just goes almost in line with what we're seeing in the game. Like, it all comes full circle. Not only are we seeing a back and forth in the score line of every game that we're watching, but now we're seeing the back and forth happen in the series line as well.
Yeah, we really are. The series going back and forth is exciting, but it's got to be nerve-wracking for the players. Rua hits the ball into the offensive end, but every damn day is going to be there to cut that one off and stop that offensive play. Evil is back, grabs that ball, light touch so that he can keep control. But the Rhinos have a different idea as they continue to try and push and put some offense here onto the Outlaws. And, this is something that I was hoping to see in this game. The Rhinos are going to have to be a little bit quicker to the ball and a little bit better on their offensive rotations if they hope to end up beating the Outlaws here, because the Outlaws actually played very well in that last game. And as you mentioned before, they played like a team. Nobody had an exceptional amount more stats. What we saw was everybody contributing on offense with assists, and everybody had at least 1 goal as well.
And not only that, but like we were talking about with the Evil is back and just all the players in general, we saw a heavy stat line in the saves category, and even still, we're going to fill that up some more with every damn day, padding those save stats and now trying to get some offense in, but will be blocked as this will go towards the midfield. But hold the phone, Smitty Cena will deny that shot and get yet another save, as this will go into the corner for Krev, is only met again by every damn day. Coming off the backboard now, it's going to be Rua, trying to get this one out of their half and finally give them their team a little breathing room. But the swish and flick will go off the backboard as every damn day will get the clear.
Really good play there by every damn day to clear that ball out to the left-hand side and keep it away from one of the Rhinos, who are definitely coming in looking for a goal, looking to get that offensive rotation started. Evil is back with a really nice touch here as well, and so far both teams have probably slowed it down a little bit. I think by this time in the last game we already had 4 or 5 goals scored, so I'm okay with it being slowed down. I'm okay with both teams trying to grab some more control, because at the end of the day, you can't win championships in a slugfest, right? Goals being scored back and forth. That's not really showing that one team is able to eke out those wins. It's more showing that each team can shoot, but it doesn't really put defense on display. And I know not everybody's going to agree with this statement, but I really do think that good defense helps win championships.
I completely agree. I don't know if you've ever seen me cast before, because we actually haven't had the opportunity to cast a lot. But one thing that I say, and it's an ongoing Rocket League theory that I have, is that in order to win a game of Rocket League, you only need to score once. And Stealth LSU will be the first person to score here in game number 3 with a nice self-pass coming from the mid and an absolute slap shot putting it into the back of the net. Only furthering another theory of mine is that it doesn't matter who's in the net. If you can smack the ball at 60 miles an hour from the midfield, more often than not, it's going to go in.
Yep, I actually agree with that, actually. I think that if you can hit that ball hard, if you're able to get yourself into a good position right at the top of the slot there, which he did. It was a great self-pass, as you said. Really good touch on that ball to keep nice control of that instead of just hitting it away. And the control is always the key in Rocket League, I find. Yes, there's some great goals that get scored by banging it, by hitting it really hard and whatnot, but control absolutely, in my opinion, is the name of the game when it comes to victories.
And I could not agree with you more. But like what I was saying earlier, we're seeing a lot of those saves kind of pile up as well. Mm-hmm. And, this is what we were talking about in the game before this one, where it was a tie, but it was a heavy scoring tie. Like, it would go from 3-3 to 4-4, and it would keep piling up. Now we're seeing, that 0-0 play out, and now we're at a 1-goal lead, finally in the latter half of the match, as we, clearly we're past halftime at this point, and they're holding on to that 1-0 lead. So we're really seeing those saves kind of stack up. And when I see that, that, what I'm thinking is that they're not demoing. They're allowing these people to stay in their respective nets and hold that line at the defense. These have got to be the most polite Outlaws I've ever seen in the history of Outlawdom. These have to be the most friendly Rhinos, the least charging Rhinos I've ever seen, to allow them to stay put for so long. Absolutely polite. It's like, no, go ahead and get that save. Take your time. I'm not going to rush. Take your time. Get the save. You can take all day.
You know, as a Canadian, I like to think that we're really nice and really polite, but I'll put that thought on hold. Smitty Cena with a really great shot from the left-hand side of the box, and we have ourselves a tie game with just under a minute left, Captain.
Of course, if the other team's not demoing you and they're not going to force you to make a defensive mishap, you can always make one on your own, kind of like a double commit like we just saw. And what that really comes down to is a lack of communication, because all it took from one of those players is an I got it. I got it. And then that way one of the players would at least sit back and wait for, the follow-up touch to get the save. But when you're taking both of your goalies out of the position, which you really shouldn't have more than one, but that's pretty much what you're going to find. And Krev will find the back of the net off of this play here with a nice touch. I'm not even sure if that was meant to be, but a good read off that 50 off the sidewall. And then again, that absolute banger at 69 miles an hour coming from the midfield. The defender just couldn't make it back in time.
No, and those balls are really hard to defend again. When they come up from high and they're coming down at you, it's not always as simple as just jumping in front of the ball, because if you don't get good contact with your car, it's going to go in off of you anyways. And we've always seen lots of goals that way. 20 seconds left here. The Outlaws need one here. Otherwise, the Rhinos are going to steal this game away, because kind of to this point, I know it's been back and forth, but I did think that the Outlaws might actually pull this one away.
Now, you see, we thought that, though, because the Outlaws were the first one to score, because they were scoreless for a solid, 3.5 minutes, and we finally get to around, the minute mark, and that's when, they finally got a goal on the board. So, again, we're seeing that little allotted time for the Rhinos to answer back, and just like in game number 1, they answered right back, getting 2 goals in a matter of seconds, really. And, again, the stats will tell the tale in a little bit of a segment that I like to call Caps analysis. So let's take a look at what we're looking at real quick. And already the shot count is the first thing that I noticed. We're seeing 5 shots come from the Rhinos in total. And then you're looking at the Outlaws, and then the Evil is Back has 4 shots just by themselves. So the possession was mainly to the Outlaws playing offense, taking shot after shot after shot after shot. And, that's why we were thinking, oh, well, the Outlaws are going to win this game. They're controlling most of the ball. And they did. They had possession for the majority of the time. But again, look at the Rhinos saves, recovering 4 saves as opposed to the Outlaws 2, which means that the Rhinos are spending the majority of their time in the net, which is why if the Outlaws would have got a demo or at least one more demo or two, we could be looking at an overtime right now. But instead, it's going to end up being a Rhinos victory, because they were able to stay in their net, take their time, accumulate their saves, and then only attack when it was a high percentage shot and the risk to reward was minimal.
Yeah, it sounds like what you're saying is the keys to the game from Captain Atsoka is demos, demos, demos. And I agree with that. I actually think that in order to pull ahead, in order to differentiate one team from another, because they are so equal in shots and all sorts of other things, that what we need to see are some more demos on the field. And I think that if we see that, we are going to see one team pull ahead. Disruption of those rotations is absolutely key if you want to win.
Well, let me clarify. What I like to see, of course, I like to see demos. Demos are really fun to watch. I like the physical play, and yes, I think it's important. It's imperative for anybody trying to move up in the competitive scene to be able to play, and not only play but counter demos as well. But the reason I say demos against the Rhinos is because they're accumulating so many saves, which means that they're just going to get away with it, and they're going to keep on doing it to the Outlaws unless the Outlaws force them out of their net. And if they're going to sit there and literally become a sitting duck and or Rhino, you have to take them out, or they're just going to keep getting saves.
Yeah, I got you. And you know what? You're absolutely right. The other thing to point out while we're talking about demos is also that it's important to demo in rotation, because there's a lot of people that go out of their way to seek a demo, but you end up shorthanding your team if you do that, because then you're not in rotation yourself. And, I keep saying rotations. I've probably said this word a ton tonight, but at the end of the day, this is what the crux of these victories is going to be, is can teams continue to support each other? And the best way to do that is to be in a predictive place and to be where your teammates expect you so those passes can come out to you, or so when there's 50s happening, you know where to be and how to react to the possible win or loss of a 50 by your teammate.
Yeah, and now looking awfully similar to game number 3. We have a 0-0 scoreline, but Caster's Curse be me! As this will go off the crossbar, nearly ending that 0-0 scoreline, as now Every Damn Day is trying to take a shot here, but will go to the side, and Rua will get the save, and will send this one back to the Outlaws half with Every Damn Day, and the Evil is back playing a little bit of defense.
The pressure that's being put on here is really good, but it's not able to be sustained for a long period of time by the Rhinos. And if you want to beat a team, you need to start sustaining that offense. Start stealing their boost, start getting more shots on net and pulling them out of place and forcing them to use the little bit of boost that they have. And neither team is effectively really doing that. They just kind of seem to be hitting the ball back. Lots of time here, about 10 seconds in the neutral zone, without any real huge offensive opportunities. So I think that this game, with half of it already gone and no goals scored, and not a lot of offensive pressure being put on by either team, is really going to come down to who can capitalize on the other team's mistake first.
And it's really going to be on the Outlaws because they are down in the series right now 2-1 against the Rhinos. So it's going to be on them to either just hold the line and not be the first one to make the mistake, or be the first one to create an opportunity and get on the board. But with that being said, they were the first ones to get on the board last game, and within the final seconds they allowed the Rhinos to come in and just steal it once again, much like game number 1. So really what I want to see from the Outlaws is a little bit more consistency, as now we're seeing some consistency from Stealth LSU on the defensive side, getting save after save, but Krev is back to get a save of their own. Still, the scoreline will remain at 0-0.
Wow, both of these teams with a couple of good offensive opportunities here and really good defensive play. Krev, you mentioned, was able to get back fast enough in order to make a save on the Rhinos side. So the Outlaws here doing a fantastic job in trying to stress and push these Rhinos. And the Rhinos are trying to answer back here. Smitty keeps that ball into the other end, but Stealth is going to push it back. And again, we're going to see a bit of a battle in kind of the neutral area here in that middle third of the field.
And really, that's where you want to see it play out. That's where you want to see it, to see the tug of war really go down, is at the midfield, because that's where the majority of scores will take place, is off a pass plays coming out of the midfield or even coming out from the corner. Those are the two most dangerous places on the field, in my opinion, the corners and the midfield. So seeing that they're having a real big back and forth, trying to fight, like you said, for that neutral ground, is really, telling for the overall series. As you know, we're coming down to the final seconds and still remain scoreless, as this one will go up high for Krev, putting one on target, forcing a double commit to come out from the Outlaw side of the net, as Krev will hit one past Every Damn Day, leaving the Evil is back to rotate towards near post, but no one there to receive the pass, as Smitty Cena will try and get one past the opposition, and the 50 from Stealth LSU will hold off this offensive pressure, if only for a moment.
Man, that was a really good bit of offensive pressure there that was being put on, and the Rhinos were doing a really good job there. So, it's interesting to see both of these teams pushing each other a little bit, and a shot just goes wide, and that was very close. Stealth LSU is going to try and put this ball down to the field and hopefully push their teams in overtime, and here we go.
And this is the second time we have overtime tonight. The last time that they were in overtime, it was the Rhinos taking the victory away. Let's see if they can do it again. The Rua will be going off the backboard now with a nice midfield touch, as this one will fall for Smitty Cena, going off the backboard again, but Every Damn Day will break that one up, and the counterattack will go underway here at the midfield. Both Outlaws kind of leaving that one hanging, allowing the Rhinos to get a strike in, but now going off the backboard, Every Damn Day looking to take some control here, coming out from the corner looking for that midfield pass, will get the pass off, but the recipient will not make it there in time, as the Rhinos will continue to hold on their defensive side.
Well, man, we are being treated to some fantastic Rocket League as both teams continue to battle back and forth, trying to put that ball into the net as we approach the first minute here in overtime in game number 4. And Captain, I think that people at home need to understand too the importance of these games. This is the third last week before we hit playoffs. And these are all divisional matchups that we're seeing all of the teams play. And the top team in each division goes to the playoffs, as well as some wild card spots. So you want to win your division in order to guarantee your spot in the playoffs and not have to worry about your stats compared to other teams. So this is a very intense game, and for good reason, because all the marbles are on the table with these two teams. This one matters a lot.
Especially in MLE, in a league like MLE, because like the other guys, we play all 5 games, so every win counts. So when you come up to times like these, you're going to see them playing tooth and nail for the entirety of the series, no matter how they go down. But speaking of going down, it will be the Rhinos defense that will go down, as the Evil is back. We'll find an absolute laser of a shot. Notice that this one looks oddly familiar to a shot that the Evil is back got last time. A good show of control, a nice self pass, and then an absolute laser to finish that one off. Being the one scorer of the game will win it for their teams. The Outlaws are going to take game number 4.
And there's a name that we have talked about. The Evil is back, right? There's a name that I brought up earlier. And once again, Evil is back, is in the right place at the right time, and has the ability to get that ball into the net on a really great little half volley shot. And, you know, I know that everybody at home cannot see the chat in game. Everybody is being really good to each other. They're complimenting each other. And the Evil is back actually said that this is a really close game, and every season it is just like this. And he's right. This is what we see. So from my perspective, not only is it great to see close games, but I really like to see the camaraderie between players. And I'm telling you, we're being rewarded here tonight just for being here and watching. We're seeing some really phenomenal Rocket League play. But here's the key now. The Rhinos, now we have a tied series, right? So now the Rhinos absolutely want to try and win this game because they're still 2 games back in the division. So for them to be able to win one game, the next game, and at least be able to take a lead in the division is going to be a really, really big deal.
Now, I don't know if anybody remembered by the start of this, but I remember saying, I wouldn't be surprised if this scoreline ended in 3-2. Well, guess what? Here we are in game number 5, and I gotta say, I'm not the least bit shocked. This is exactly what I expected. The back and forth, the absolute haymaker after haymaker of games all lead us to here. Game number 5, as we have been underway, and this will go out to the corner for Krev, with a nice shot placement there, but not enough to get past and not enough to find the back of the net. But, Krev, I like the way you think, as this one will go down again for Rua. Looking for Smitty Cena, but I like the way they were able to get in between and kind of break up the passing combination, as Krev will get one, not past 1, but 2 defenders there. But luckily, the Evil is back, managed to get back, and now also back to the midfield, as this one will somehow, some way, sneak by the defense and find the back of the net.
Well, the way that this one sneaks by the defense is a misplay here as Krev is heading back to the net. And one of the things we talk about is when you're coming back to the net, unless you absolutely have to, stay out of the middle lane. Goals like this happen. It comes off of the backboard, right into Krev's car and into the net, unfortunately, on that own goal. However, the Outlaws, for them, it's not unfortunate. That is exactly what they want, as they take a 1-goal lead, but we still have 4.5 minutes roughly left to play in game number 5.
And this is really one of the cool things that I like about MLE, because no matter what level of play style that you're going at, whether you're at Supersonic Legend, GC level, champ level, there's always something that you could be learning. It's not just from playing, but from watching MLE too, because we're talking about a lot about offensive positioning, offensive rotation. But what we just saw in that mishap, and what you were talking about in that last defensive play, like that own goal, is that we need to talk about more is maybe defensive positioning and defensive rotation. Because for those that don't know, had those two players been playing near post, far post, and really taking into consideration their defensive positioning, maybe plays like that would not have happened. But it is still to say that it was is unfortunate, it was coincidental. But I think I speak for the Outlaws when I say we take those.
Yeah. The Outlaws are absolutely thinking that right now, as they have a 1-goal lead here. And for the Outlaws, this is an opportunity. If they win this game, they're now leading the division by 3 games against the Rhinos. And that's the beauty of these head-to-head divisional matchups that we see in the last 3 weeks here at MLE, as I had mentioned earlier. But some really good play so far. The Outlaws are really swarming here. They're really trying to get this bank robbery, so to speak, underway and take this last game.
And still 1-0 in favor of the Outlaws as Smitty Cena will hit this down to Rua, leaving it for Krev with a nice touch going towards the backboard here. And a read attempt from Rua unfortunately was misread as Krev gets past one defender. Will leave it for Stealth LSU to hit this one back towards the side in the midfield. And every damn day will pay for it with their lives as Krev sends them straight to the graveyard. Don't pass go, don't collect 200 as this will fall right back into the Outlaw side. Now Smitty Cena showing some pretty impressive mechanics, but not getting past the last defender. And now it looks like this will go back into the Outlaws corner, giving them a chance for a counterattack.
Yep, and you know, the nice thing about these demos, you talked about taking the life. The demos, at least, are not permanent, right? They take you out of the game for only 3 seconds, but often that's enough to see some goals. And you had mentioned earlier you wanted to see some more demos. I don't think that one had a big impact on anything, but I agree with you. I think demos are really important, and that 3 seconds that they take a player out of the game for before they respawn are huge.
It's not just the 3 seconds, but you're also causing those mishaps in defensive rotation because you're throwing a player back into the game, into the mix of things randomly. So you already have players that are on the field rotating, finding their positions with their other surviving player. And now you have, this fresh spawn as the Evil is back. Will put this one down. Knows exactly where they're on the rotation now. It's been a good bit of time, but the Evil is back with, again, just a nice self pass and an absolute laser putting it down with a defender in net that really didn't have enough reaction time to respond.
Absolutely, and this is an interesting outcome for me because we're seeing that the Rhinos actually have more shots, a little bit more offensive pressure, but it looks like the Outlaws are able to capitalize more than the Rhinos. Harder shots, ones that are a little bit more threatening, I guess we could say, and it's paying off. The Rhinos have a big hill to climb, and they're going to need to get a goal within the next probably 15 to 20 seconds if they want to have a chance to bring this one back and potentially win this series.
With just less than a minute, and we've already established that a lot can happen in Rocket League in just a short amount of time, as Krev will have this one stolen away at the midfield as Stealth LSU will hit both sidebars but will not find the back of the net. Going off the backboard now is the Rhinos as Every Damn Day is able to send this one to the Evil is back, looking for the redirect there, putting it on target as Krev had to use all their boost to make it back in time to get that save. Now approaching the final 30 seconds, and it is looking grave for the Rhinos as they still remain on the defensive side of the ball. Now Rua finally getting it out of their own half but can't get past Stealth LSU. This will remain at the midfield. Smitty Cena will take control, gets past one defender, but Stealth LSU has all day and every damn day at the other half of the field as now the Outlaws are once again on offense.
Yeah, with only 10 seconds left, I'm going to go ahead, be bold, and call this one. Now we're down to 5 seconds, and the Outlaws have possession of the ball. A little bit of a shot that's wide, but it is having the impact that it wants to. And as soon as this ball hits the ground or gets put into a net, this one will be over, and it is, with the Outlaws taking a 3-2 series lead and series win.
And honestly, this is the exact back and forth that we were expecting to see all the way from the first game. But this is actually the first time where, they actually shut out a team. Being that it was 2-0. Well, actually, I'm lying, because they did have a game where it ended up in 1-0 in overtime. But still, it wasn't a 1-goal differential is what I was trying to get at. This was actually 2-goal differential for the first time. So the Outlaws really showed a lot of control coming into this game. And like you were talking about, as far as the shot count is concerned, the Rhinos did have a lot more of the shots. They had a lot more of the possession. But really, the Outlaws just played the shot selection game. They chose quality of a shot over the quantity, and it paid off. And guess who was the person making those? It was the Evil is back. We talked about them all the time, and not to mention they had 4 of those shots for the Outlaws. So the Evil is back managed to have 4 of those 6 shots for the Outlaws. So once again, we're seeing the Evil is back do what they do best, and that's putting goals on target. And honestly, with the game that we just watched, the series that we just watched, I am overly excited for the next matchup. And of course, going into the next matchup is going to be the Ducks and the Hive. Not just that though, we have ourselves a special guest coming in playing for the Hive from OKSRP. It is the one and only Rogers. So we're gonna have some exciting Rocket League coming up. You're not gonna want to miss it. Stay tuned. Captain's orders.